Hello everyone. Today I want to look at how we can teach our students to use prompts effectively to get the most useful response from generative AI. So we hear a lot about AI prompt engineers at the moment. It's one of those jobs that probably didn't exist 5 years ago and might not in another 3. Kind of sounds complicated and important, doesn't it? And on some levels, of course, it is. But I also think it contributes to the mystification of generative AI in particular. As far as teachers are concerned, when we're thinking about how to teach our students how to use generative AI effectively, and we should definitely be doing that, by the way, it pays to be a bit less precious about it. Be more playful. Instead of worrying about crafting the perfect prompt, better to use it interactively. Just ask for something, then ask it to modify its output based on what it gives you. That's not to say the prompt isn't important. Like anything, what you get out does depend on what you put in. But you don't need to be perfect straight away. So I tried this with a Year 11 student this week. She was struggling with Romeo and Juliet and had been asked to write about Act 1, Scene 2. I suggested she ask Gemini. Her first question was pretty typical of the prompts students use. She attached a PDF of the text and asked, "Explain this to me." I have to say the output was pretty good. She was delighted, and on her own she might have left it there. Clearly it helped her to understand the text. Apart obviously from this bit of bangler that crept in somehow, at least it gave me the opportunity to mention that AI does get things wrong. Everything's a teachable moment, right? We didn't leave it there though. Instead, we put the same question into Claude and into ChatGPT, and we look for the differences. Now, this simple comparison is good practice for 2 reasons. First, it reinforces the fact that AI doesn't provide the answer, but only an answer. You still have to think about it for yourself. And secondly, it's a very low stakes way of introducing some comparative and evaluative skills. Instantly, we're scaling the heights of Bloom's taxonomy. Happy days. Now, in this case, my student noticed that Gemini and Claude both emphasise that Lord Capulet's other children have died, which GPT misses completely. The point is not that GPT is less good, rather it's that the comparison highlighted the fact and opened up a discussion about why it might become important later in the play. Now, we then went on to refine the prompt by providing some context. This is a really effective way of generating a more useful response. This time she asked, "I'm a detail-oriented Year 11 UK student, skilled in thoroughly completing assignments and seeking to understand assigned content to the best of my ability. I'm reading Romeo and Juliet by Shakespeare for GCSE English Literature. Explain this to me." And instantly, all 3 bots gave much more detailed assistance, tending to focus on particular lines and explaining their meaning in quite a literal sense. The accuracy was pretty impressive. I'll share links to the complete chat so you can see the difference for yourself. Then we tried another prompt, this time asking for a slightly more specific response. So we added, "Your task is to help me understand what this passage from Act 1, Scene 2 means in the context of the play." And this shifted the focus, again, of all 3 responses quite significantly, and we started to get information about character development and the overall narrative structure. And finally, we built on this start and asked a different but related question. How can we relate these ideas to Shakespeare's other tragedies? Again, the responses were really impressive and inspired a much wider discussion about tragedy and genre than we might have had otherwise. So, 3 tips that I think are useful when helping students to prompt AI effectively. Number 1, provide some context. Number 2, be specific. And number 3, build on the conversation. But the most important takeaway, I think, is that you don't have to get it right straight away. We have to see the use of AI as a process, not a solution, and we have to frame it in those terms for our students. If we define it as a useful tool to help them develop their understanding, rather than some illicit cheating machine, then we'll be on the road to developing proper AI literacy. And that's what we should be aiming for.